Okay, we're ready to roll. All right, well, thanks again for joining me. And we're going to be doing workshops this month in October, November, and it is November. We're going to be doing workshops. I'm going to be going live as much as possible this month. And then after that, we'll see what happens. Yesterday, we talked about drawing with shapes, and we just used two-dimensional shapes. We'll do the same today. We're going to change. We're going to move to three-dimensional shapes at some point, but let's stick with the basics, and let's get started. So we are going to start. We're going to draw this car, and just using our basic shapes. So I'm going to start with a rectangle for the base of the car. For the top, we can draw another rectangle. And then for the wheels, we're just going to add our circles. Very simple, basic shapes that we learned in school. Now, this represents laying out the shapes with our pencil lightly. I find that beginning students often press very hard and then they're stuck with whatever they lay down, but we're going to draw very lightly. And now this is going to represent, I'm going to add this layer and bring down the opacity a little bit. Now we can still see it. And I'm going to draw on top of this. And this will represent us pressing a little bit harder with the pencil. So I'm going to start by drawing the back of the car using a curved line. And you can think of this curved line as part of a circle, if it helps you to think of it as a big circle and then just this portion of it. Otherwise, you can just think of it as a curved line. Okay, and then we're going to also go up, and I know exactly where I'm going because I have already laid out this guideline of the rectangle. I'm going to use a straighter diagonal line going down to there, and then we're going to curve down to about there, and then it looks like it takes a little more of a steeper turn. Diagonal line for the bumper, and a curved line coming down like that. Looks like I should have had my wheels. Actually, I'm going to change that in that lower layer. I'm just going to erase that and redraw it so it's over a little more. Okay, so that's the beauty of drawing lightly. So now I can press a little bit harder, and we're laying out the wheel. Same for over here. I'm going to show you exactly how to draw some circles in a moment. So the bumper comes down, and we'll have it come down a little bit lower. It's going to continue over here. You can see that that should match up. And then we've got a nice straight line. Looks like it might be just a little bit of an angle going up. And then that would continue over to this side. Curves up. We'll put a diagonal line to go up. A little bit of detail for the bumper. And then as we can see, it kind of curves back that way. So that's not bad, just for starting with these basic shapes here. We're just laying out the basics, and we've got the contour, which is the outer outline of the car. And then I'm going to add some more circles to the wheels. Clean that up just a little bit. And you don't have to have one continuous line. You can do it in portions. make a check on something here. All right, we're looking good. All right. So now we've got our wheels. Let's draw the we're going to draw the window also with a curved line. So we'll make it nice and thick. Come down again parallel, well, mostly parallel to this upper line. We can draw the mirror just using an oval. And the connecting it to the car. So the base of the window is not exactly horizontal. It comes and meets up with this curved line. Okay, we've got some lines here for the window. We're going to add an oval here. And then I see on the car, and it looks like the wheels should have been bigger. That's all right. We're just going through it. So the contour, the shape of the car goes there, and we can make a line here just to add a little more of the detail of the car. This curved line represent it. It's similar to this upper one. Draw this part lightly. Then we're going to add just a little more detail here. We'll draw the handle there. And again, I say not bad at all for just laying it out. I think I would like to make this a little bit larger. And of course, if you're working digitally, you don't have to draw all this. But we just want to get an idea of what it would look like to use our basic shapes. I'm going to add horizontal line on the bottom. This will be our shadow. Now let me show you how we can use, we can draw some circles. So I'm going to move this up there, and all right, we're good to go. Add one more layer. Okay, so I think the best way to learn is to just practice. And as you can see, one way is to draw nice and light. And it's almost like a racetrack, and as you're more confident, you add a little more pressure as you go. It's a good exercise to go the other way as well. As you can see, it's easy to have a bias. We all naturally tend to not be round, so you want to try to move your whole arm as you draw the circle. And I read of a comic book artist who would just draw circles. He would fill up a whole page going different directions, and then just keep drawing circles inside of circles, and just get it back, get them as small as he could. Great exercise. Another thing you can do is just draw a spiral and just keep winding it around and trying to make that as perfect of a circle as you can. I'll try going the other way now. Great exercise. And I recommend, I'm going to show you another technique in a moment that's just a little more technical, but I recommend really doing these exercises, and you will see over time that your circles just become a little more the way they should, more round. And I'm drawing using my whole, moving at my shoulder here. I'm not using my wrist. My wrist would, this is what it looks like to do it with my wrist. And it's just a little more harder to control it with the shoulder. I can get some nice round ones. So let's get rid of those. Let me show you how to draw a circle. And we're going to start with a square. And to find the middle of the square, all we have to do is connect the corners. And that's the middle of the square. We don't have to get a ruler out, we already know. I'm going to add a horizontal line there. And sorry, that was a vertical line. That's a horizontal line. And we can do the same for this square. Now I just have the middle of that one, and I can do it again. And I've got some midpoints here. And we'll do that for all of these squares. There we go. And now to draw a circle inside of this first square that we drew, I'm going to start at this point, I'm going to end here, and I'm just going to use a curved line. And they connect using that curved line. I bring it down to this point. And I can do as many of those circles as I want. I can have one here. I want it to be this size, which means it's going to be equal distant from that center point. I can make one here, which again, I don't have to get the ruler out. Just for today's sake, we can eyeball it. And I connect those. And this is also a very good exercise I would encourage you to do, because it really does help you see how that curve line needs to round out in order to get there. And it's just our tendency to flatten that line at some point to do a little more like that. So it is a helpful exercise to say, no, I gotta keep it, I gotta round it out. And if you do that, you're going to see that you'll just naturally get better at drawing those circles, which is really going to help your drawing, especially if you're drawing something like comics, as I mentioned. It really does help round out those lines. And the beauty of this, we're gonna talk more about perspective at some point. But if I have that square laying flat as if it were the tabletop, I can still find the center by connecting those corners. And I've got my vertical line, my horizontal line is going to be here. So that means this top half is shorter than the bottom half, which would make sense. This part is further in the distance. And now I can still use that same principle where I'm going to connect and now it looks like a circle laying flat on top of a table. And we just get rid of anything that we don't want. And there we go. We've got a circle that lays flat on the table. And I'm going to add another ring inside of it. Probably the best way to do that would be to draw another square, but we'll just kind of eyeball it here. So there you have it. And that's just, again, we're back to just two-dimensional shapes. And we've got our car and We started very simply with that. So I find that's the best way to draw, is to start with those basic shapes. And you can lay them out. Those basic shapes are building blocks, and you can stack them up however you need to get uh, to build the object that you want to, and then you just go over it with your lines. So anyway, thanks for joining me today. I'll be here tomorrow about this time, and love for you to join me. If you have any questions, leave me a comment. If you have any requests, leave me a comment. I'm your art coach this month, and look forward to spending some more time. We'll see you in the next video.